I'm not really familiar with your content, and I just saw that fresh and fit reaction,
Mhm.
and just to get into the debate/conversation, can you explain your point of view?
Well, I thought that we were going to talk about masculinity primarily. So I'd be more than happy to just jump into that because when I watched your reaction to my fresh and fit breakdown, I think that you were like you seemed like floored over my statement that masculinity is a social construct.
What does that mean to you? Because I hear that being thrown around by a lot of Twitter liberal people. Like, what does that mean? Masculinity is a social construct.
So what it means is a lot of the times people think that masculine and male are just one and the same, like synonymous, when in reality there is biological males, of course, and then the expectations that we place on those males, how they should communicate the fact that they are male is masculinity, and it's that is socially constructed. So there are definitely biological characteristics that we have classified as masculine, like physical strength, right? But there's not any one way to be masculine. And finally, I think another good example is that height
There's not one way
can
to be masculine.
no, there's not just one way to be masculine. You could be weak physically, but engage in other types of behaviors that might be categorized as masculine. There's no one way to be masculine.
Okay. Do you think you're as masculine as somebody like a UFC fighter, or even
No.
me? Or would you? Okay. Why? Is that a social construct, or is that just basic biology?
No, because what you're missing is that we as humans have categorized these certain behaviors as being masculine. So you saying, I have big muscles, we have categorized that as masculine.
Okay. So,
Women
so
can have big
basically,
muscles, but it doesn't mean that she's necessarily masculine. Similarly, height also is oftentimes considered masculine, and that is also based on biology, but it's women who wear high heels to become taller, and that's considered feminine. So height can be masculine, but if a woman is tall because she's wearing high heels, that would be feminine. There's
so
no one
when you
way to be
say social
masculine.
construct, when I hear people say this, it basically just comes down to the fact that you're just like humans have definitions for words. That's it.
Well, partially, yeah, but that doesn't mean that everything is a social construct. Because again, it's not just the definitions, it's also what is the definition referring to. There's a collection of behaviors that are laid out in society as to how men should behave, and that's considered masculinity. I can give you an example here. This comes from the Conformity to Masculine Norms Inventory. It specified 11 norms as far as masculinity: winning, emotional control, risk taking, violence, dominance, playboy, self reliance, primacy of work, power over women, disdain for homosexuality, and pursuit of status. So, plenty of that is socially constructed. The idea that you're a man, you need to be winning, that's socially constructed. There's nothing innate to men that means they have to win.
What's your
Right?
point? What's the point in saying that it's a social construct?
My point is that we have decided that certain behavior is masculine. And so long as we're able to acknowledge that, we can also then have conversations about the aspects of masculinity that are harmful to men.
Toxic masculinity.
Partially, but I also recognize how that term has been just
Well, that's what you're
completely
saying. You're
destroyed.
saying harmful masculinity. It's the same thing. So you're saying that there's certain parts of masculinity that we shouldn't embrace, and we should let that go because it's toxic, harmful.
Well, yeah, partially, yes, but it's not just toxic to like the women, right? It's toxic to the men. It hurts men specifically. And that's why
How?
I try
What
to
parts of max? What do you think is toxic masculinity?
the idea that you should suppress emotion, the
Why?
idea that showing if you cry, for example, as a man, that's seen as being weak. That is absolutely detrimental
You're
to
really gonna
a
argue?
man's mental
You're really
well-being.
gonna argue with me and say that crying isn't weak?
It's not. And it's further evidenced by the fact that masculinity is a social construct. So, for example, this comes from a
Wait, no.
historian.
Okay, don't keep repeating that. How? It's very basic things. Like, yes, you should be able to express your emotions, but would you cry on camera?
I mean, maybe it would depend on what I was talking about.
Would
But
you?
wait,
Okay,
hold on. I'm not just repeating that masculinity is a social construct. I'm explaining that in the Middle Ages, there was a trope of masculine weeping being a mark of religious devotion and knightly chivalry. So by the 16th century, it was well established that a masculine man was supposed to have deep emotions and to show them, in some cases, through tears. So the fact that at one point that was masculine, and nowadays not showing emotion is considered masculine, demonstrates that masculinity has changed, which demonstrates that it is a social construct.
Because you have one thing from the 16th century that you just read?
No, that's not just the one thing. Do we want to look back at ancient Greece? You know, small penises used to be a symbol of masculinity back then.
Yeah, they were also having gay butt sex in Greece.
That's irrelevant to what I just said.
It's pretty relevant.
Do you acknowledge that certain aspects of masculinity have changed over time and throughout history?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can be steered and go off into the wrong things. But masculinity and femininity is parallel in every single animal kingdom. Not just humans, but you don't see the leader, the father of a family in any animal needs to be strong, needs to be guided, needs to be winning, bringing food to the table. And if you waste time crying, then someone else is going to eat you alive.
Well, we are animals, but we are not animals in the sense that we operate only on instinct. We're human beings. We have far more complex mental capacity. And you're wrong, because if you want a man to provide for the family, that man needs to be mentally strong enough to do just that. And when you suppress your emotions because you're afraid of looking weak or looking feminine, you are damaging your own mental well-being.
It's not afraid of looking weak or looking feminine. It's just crying and being emotional as a man literally puts you in a vulnerable state. And you're not capable.
No, it doesn't necessarily.
Yes, that 100%, that's exactly what crying is being vulnerable. And the more you put yourself in a vulnerable position, the quicker somebody else could take advantage of you. If you spend more time being emotional, then someone else will walk all over you.
Okay, well, hold on. I think that you're a little bit confused. It can be vulnerable to express emotions and to cry, yes. But I'm not advocating that men just cry all day, every day at everything. Yeah, there's a time and a place to appropriately express emotion, of course. But this isn't just for men. This is literally for every human being. Women shouldn't be melting down crying at the job either. So there's a time and a place to express those emotions. And again, it's okay for a man to be vulnerable at times. That is a necessary component of, honestly, the human experience and the ability to better your own mental health. I'll read you some of this.
I don't want to keep reading studies and stuff like that. I want to have a conversation.
Well, I know you don't, because they all contradict all of this dumb shit that you constantly advocate for.
What dumb shit do I constantly advocate for?
You have talked all the time about how men don't need to be in therapy talking about their feelings. They need a tough older brother to just go punch them and tell them to shut the fuck up, or tough it out, pussy, or something like that. So right. Yeah, you have advocated against the idea of men being in touch with their emotions.
Do you go to therapy?
No.
Okay, why not?
Well, I used to, but I don't anymore.
Why'd you stop going? Why are you not in touch with your mental health?
Going to therapy is not synonymous with being in touch with your mental health. But when you say they don't need to express emotion, or they don't need to be talking about their feelings, that is advocating for the very problem that is affecting men.
You don't get it. So I don't say that you should suppress your emotions. You should feel it, you should go through it, but you should act accordingly. So you can be emotional and still do what you need to do. Going to therapy, wasting time, and even thinking that it's dumb shit that you should just keep pushing forward is going to be a time waster. So what happened to me recently, like when I got banned on YouTube, was obviously that shit made me feel emotional. 9 years of work, everything deleted, constant hit pieces about me, YouTube taking money away from me, my life's work all being stripped away. I could do what you want to do, go to therapy, I could talk about it, I could cry, or figure out a solution and still feel those things. So I'm not done with my point. Men have the capacity.
Your point is irrelevant here and doesn't actually help your argument.
You didn't hear my point. You didn't hear my point.
I don't need to hear any more of your point or your personal anecdote. I don't give a fuck.
It's not a personal anecdote.
The problem here, Sneako, is that you are creating a dichotomy. It is not either push forward or roll over and start crying at therapy. It's both. It's you can be in touch with your feelings and your emotions, learn how to work through that, and continue pushing on. I'm not saying people should just give up.
Okay,
you're making this into a dichotomy.
No one said giving up. You're putting words in my mouth. Men have the capacity to feel emotions and then make the decision to keep going. Women and weaker people don't have the same ability to. They need to cry. They need to process it. But it can be processed through work. This new age idea that we need to go cry, that we need to go to therapy, that we need to talk about it, that I need to go on TikTok and talk about my problems is all a waste. When you can just keep pushing forward, you could have conversations with people, but spending more time investing into your feelings is ultimately a waste when you know what to do.
You're wrong.
Why am I wrong?
Again, because it's not a dichotomy. You should, quote unquote, know what to do and move forward and push on in your life. But the way in which you can do that more successfully is also by being in touch with your emotions.
Is crying,
and also
what does
being
crying
willing
accomplish?
to cry at times.
What does
if
crying
you need
accomplish,
to.
sir?
Okay, well, it's that crying can scientifically release certain chemicals in your brain that can help you assess the situation better. There's that. And it's also even more so, it's the suppression of emotion and crying that really does the damage. To be crystal clear, especially for people watching, I'm not advocating that all men need to be crying at the same rate as women. That would be pretty silly to expect. However, what I was trying to read you earlier, a second ago, there is a meta-analysis that was done on the relation between repressive coping and certain diseases. And they found that repressive coping literally increases your risk of developing cancer. So again, when you make it sound as if boys shouldn't be at therapy talking about their feelings and instead should just have an older brother that tells them to tough it out, pussy, then what you're doing is you're contributing to negative outcomes for men.
I'm contributing to cancer?
If you're telling men that they need to repress their emotions in order to be a good man or a manly man or masculine, yes.
Okay. What's your demographic? What's your audience?
My YouTube audience?
Yeah. How many females and how many males do you have watching?
I don't know.
You don't know? You should check. So I have 95% males watching. And the reason I had this giant blow up right now and why my stream blew up so fast is because I was connecting with a lot of men who understood that what I was saying is something that they needed to hear, something that they understood inherently. You should check your demographics and see who's watching your videos. And we can get a consensus in my chat right now. You can type a 1 if you agree with me that it's better to keep pushing forward, a type a 2 if you think that you should cry and process everything.
You're doing it again. Why do you keep doing that?
Doing what?
It's not either or. It's not option 1, cry and talk about emotions.
Then let's
or
establish
option
something.
B, push forward. Do both. That's the most healthy way to go.
Doing both is still doing it. So let's make an establishment. I'm saying, here's my argument. It's better to not cry. As a man. Can you make a statement?
Yes, my statement is there's a time and a place to express yourself and express emotions, including crying, and you telling men that they shouldn't cry does harm. You talk constantly. I've watched some of your content. You are consistently talking about men committing suicide at higher rates. That is a legitimate problem in America. And it's already been demonstrated that emotional suppression links the relation between suicidal thoughts and suicidal attempts. You're advocating for something that results in a harm to men.
Emotional suppression?
Yes. I can send you this study too if you'd like. This is emotional suppression, mediates the relation between adverse life events and adolescent suicide, implications for prevention. And this is just one of many that demonstrates that when you engage in suppressing emotions as a coping mechanism, you are just increasing your likelihood.
I'm not saying suppressing. I'm saying understand what the emotions are and then act accordingly. Because ultimately,
wait, did you not just say that men shouldn't cry?
Yeah, that's not suppressing.
Okay, so what if a man wants to cry?
You can feel
and you're
the
telling
emotion.
them not to. Isn't that suppressing it?
No, you can understand what's making you upset. You can feel the emotion. Doesn't mean you need to act on it. You can make the decision to what you want to do in your life. It's very simple. Like right now, obviously getting banned on YouTube makes me upset. I'm not crying about it because I understand that the long term, I'm going to be happier. My emotional state's going to be better if I keep on working. If I go to therapy, then I'm going to be in a downward spiral. Nothing gets accomplished and I will be more upset because all the work that I've done will go to nothing. That time I spent...
Why do you assume that? Because therapy can actually be incredibly beneficial. There's plenty of evidence that therapy has benefited people in their mental health and their mental well-being.
It's a place... There's nothing they're going to tell you in therapy that you don't already know. The answers to all your problems are very simple. Your happiness comes from life experience, from love, from gaining more, for accomplishing things, getting respect. living life. That's our happiness. You're not going to therapy to get happy. You're going there to talk about your feelings. There's nothing they're going to tell you that you don't already know.
That's not necessarily true at all. I don't know why you would assume that.
What's the revelation you've had in therapy?
I don't need to give you a personal experience for what you just said to be incorrect. So a lot of the times therapists will not give you some big revelation, but instead walk you yourself through certain emotions and feelings so that you can come to a better conclusion, or so that you can deal and cope with these things, again, in a more healthy way.
Okay. It's healthy because that's what they want you to think. They make a lot of money and you keep going back. But then answer this question for me. Why do you think that
there we have the conspiracy.
What's the conspiracy?
That they just want you to keep going back to make money.
That's exactly what it is. That's not a conspiracy. That's the business of therapy. That's how
just
it
if
works.
They make money providing therapy does not mean that they are incentivized or are trying to keep people down.
Therapy it doesn't end. There's no date where therapy's done. You just keep going every single week. That's not a conspiracy. That's how it works, Hunter. Let me ask you this.
Maybe people leave. Wait, it's possible also that therapy is just effective. People don't go forever. They'll leave once therapy has been effective enough in helping them, in bettering them, their life.
Okay. Do you see yourself going back to therapy?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, there you go. So it doesn't end. I'm saying I'll never go to therapy. My point is,
that's
why do
not
you think?
proving your point at all.
Okay.
I don't think you even understand what you're saying right now. Like, yes, I used to go to therapy. I don't anymore. Now I have different issues in my life that I want to deal with, and sometimes
it's a never-ending problem. It's a never-ending problem. Why
emotions, feeling stress, yeah, that can be a pretty never-ending problem. Yeah.
Right. Why do you think that I've resonated with so many young men and you haven't?
I don't know, and I don't really care. I think that part of the reason
we both do content, we both live stream. It's an accurate thing to think about. We're both creating
content.
We're both talking to people.
I think part of the reason is that you offer a easy way out in a way. I think that a lot of the times don't go to therapy, don't confront your feelings and your emotions, just stick it out, tough it out. You know, you got to fuck a bunch of.
How is that easy? That's the most difficult thing in life. Getting more money,
because telling people to just stick it out is only detrimental to their well-being. The problem is that you resonate with young men. It's true. However, you're resonating with them for the wrong reasons. You're telling these vulnerable and impressionable guys that they need to be suppressing their feelings, which makes it more likely they'll commit suicide, makes it more likely that they'll be depressed, or even act out in violence against women.
Okay.
Like you're contributing to the same problems that you complain about all the time.
It's my fault that there's okay. You're saying that it's an easy solution to tough it out. I'm saying no, it's very difficult. What's easier is going to therapy and crying. That's the easy solution. Paying $150 to sit down on a couch and cry. That's the easy solution. What I'm offering is the hard one. The journey, the life path of a man is very difficult. You need to get it. You need to get in shape. You need to make a lot of money. You need to be funny. You need to learn how to talk to women. All that shit that's going to make you happy as a man is extremely difficult. I'm saying, yo, get up. I'm doing push-ups on my stream. I'm trying to inspire that fire that young men have inside of them so that they can make their life better. It's not that's not an easy solution. That's the journey of a man.
Some of the things you're saying, I don't even necessarily disagree with. Like, yeah, you should do.
But then why would you say it's easy? Then why would you say that what I'm saying is easy?
Because the more challenging thing to do is actually being in touch with your emotions and working through them, not just suppressing them because I'm a man. I just got to push through, dude.
That's not challenging. That's the easiest thing. See, when I got banned, the easiest thing would be sit there and cry. You know what was harder? Sucking it up and doing a podcast that night.
I don't think you understand, because when you tell guys to just suck it up, there are times, yes, where you do need to suck it up. I agree with you. This isn't just like a universal rule. However, there are also times when men should and need to express emotions and feelings and even cry if they need to.
Why were you going to therapy?
I was going to therapy because of OCD and depression. It was a long time ago now.
Okay. What was, mean, maybe I don't want to get that personal, but OCD, depression.
It benefited me, but I'm not even saying.
Did you take antidepressants?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that helped? Do you still take them?
Yes, it has helped immensely.
Okay, you're on Prozac. You took the booster shot, right?
I'm not on Prozac. No, wait, hold on. We're not going to just pivot away from this. We're not talking about boosters right now.
But you took the booster, right?
No, I actually didn't get the booster. I was honestly.
You got vaccinated?
I got 2 doses of the vaccine when it was first happening. I didn't get the booster because I was way too scared that was the one that had the microchip in it. So I decided to avoid that one. Not to mention when I got the second vaccine, I had a weird fucking side effect where I had this like nearly uncontrollable urge to download Microsoft Windows Explorer, Internet Explorer. It was really quite crazy.
I've noticed a parallel. I'm not pivoting. I just want to make this observation. I've noticed a parallel. People who say words like toxic masculinity, who talk about antidepressants and therapy, are also vaccinated. It's all tied in to make everybody controlled. These are things that they do to suppress us and keep us down and have everybody believing in the same thing so that we're easily manipulated and we're compliant. Booster shot, vaccination.
Toxic masculinity. How does
saying toxic masculinity because you're crying. You're not embracing your masculine nature. You think that being a man is toxic.
No, I don't. You're wrong. And this is the misconception because a bunch of blue-haired fucking dipshits on Twitter have completely abused the term toxic masculinity.
And people like you
When
too.
I talk about toxic masculinity, I'm talking about social expectations that are placed on men that are toxic to the man. I'm not talking about toxic masculinity as it's bad to be a man or to even be masculine. But when you posit these ideas that men need to suppress emotion, tough it out, what you are doing is you are negatively impacting men's mental well-being. And I don't know why, if quote unquote they wanted to control us, they would be advocating to address these toxic expectations that are placed on men. I mean, if they want to control us, like telling men the type of masculinity, the type of masculinity that you're pushing for, the suppress emotion type, that contributes to more suicide.
Okay, you repeated
how are they going to gain? How are they gaining control?
You repeated that 3 times. I mean, basically, and you didn't answer
because it's true. Yes.
Okay, you didn't answer the more giant question. Why do you think? Like, really try to think about that. Why do you think that I'm connecting with these men and you're not?
I don't know what relevance this has. I think
because
that,
you're
again,
saying the same idea that everyone is pretty much saying. This is what they want us to believe, that it's toxic.
Who's they?
Everybody who's talking about this. These ideas come from someplace. This is a new idea. Toxic masculinity, mental health, therapy. These are new ideas that we all start echoing and believing. You see it in articles. You see it on social media. You see it in the news. You hear from everybody in charge.
I don't think you understand how that when I talk about toxic masculinity, this is referring to a broad societal problem that is detrimental to men.
Okay.
So if we want to talk about what the APA has said, for example, the American Psychological Association, they have said that the pressure that boys and men feel to conform to certain aspects of traditional masculinity can lead to poor health outcomes, including higher rates of suicide, substance abuse, violence, and early death.
Yeah.
Now, men committing suicide,
yeah.
Men committing suicide is a huge problem, okay? I agree with that. And I also appreciate the fact that you talk about some of these issues. However, the solutions that you're offering are detrimental to men. And not only that,
how are you going to talk about what's better for men if you're, I mean, no offense, you're on antidepressants. How are you going to talk about what's better for your mental health if you're not, if you are literally popping a pill every day saying, I'm not happy? What the fuck do you know?
Do you know what an ad hom attack is? Do you know
that's
what an ad hom is?
Bro, that's not an ad hom
attack. Yes, it is. You're not even addressing my argument. You're saying you take pills? What?
You take antidepressants. You are acknowledging every day, I'm depressed. So what do you know about
that's
happiness?
That's not what taking antidepressants is. Well, first of all.
Antidepressant.
Second of all, I don't need to know, or I don't need to be in the best mental well-being myself to still be able to read what these studies demonstrate, that telling men to suppress emotion does nothing but contribute to higher rates of suicide, substance abuse, and violence.
Okay.
Not to mention, this type of idea also negatively impacts men within relationships. So we have already done, there's been plenty of studies on this, for example.
Hunter, your way's not working.
Wait.
Your method's not working. Your view of men's mental health and everything is not working, and you're admitting it every day by taking an antidepressant.
Okay, if you're gonna just cling to like you take medicine, LOL, then that's fine. But you're not making an argument right now.
It's not medicine.
It is medicine. It's been clinically demonstrated to be effective, and I don't know what your hang-up is with this. Okay. Chill the fuck out. I want to read this to you really quickly. This talks about how there's masculine discrepancy.
I don't need pills to be chill.
And intimate partner violence. It says, quote, research on gender roles suggests that men who strongly adhere to traditional masculine gender norms are at increased risk for the perpetuation of violent and abusive acts towards their female intimate partners.
Okay, talk to me, man. Stop reading these studies, bro. This is just a waste.
No, I know that you don't want me to read all of the information that completely obliterates all the dumb shit you say. but let me finish at least, okay? It says, in the present study, we assess the effect of masculine discrepancy stress, a form of distress arising from
This is not having a debate
failure.
or a conversation. You reading these articles is not a conversation with me.
It's not an article, it's a study, and I would like to just read the little blurb here, okay?
This is the
This
fourth
is
article you've
educational
read.
for people listening, okay? In the present study, they assessed the effect of masculine
If
discrepancy
you're depressed,
stress,
you should not be educating people on happiness.
a form of distress arising from perceived failure to conform to socially prescribed masculine gender role norms. Results indicate that masculine discrepancy
I know
stress
this helps you think, but you can look at me and talk to me. Nobody in the chat's listening to this. Like this, you're just reciting bot points. Have a conversation.
Wait, I understand if
Have a
everybody in your
genuine
chat is like a
conversation.
brain dead fucking cuck, but I'm trying to just demonstrate that the type of masculinity that you are consistently advocating for
It's toxic.
hurts men and hurts their future relationships.
Okay. Do you know who's not on antidepressants? Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, me. The red pill people live happy lives. You don't take pills.
Wow. That's great, dude. That's super cool.
The idea.
Why don't you keep talking about snorting pills
people-
and I'll get back to reading this. It says results indicated that masculine discrepancy
this is a
stress
waste of-
significantly
Bro, I'm not
predicted.
listening to you read the study.
It's one more sentence. Calm down, please. Results indicated that masculine discrepancy stress significantly predicted men's historical perpetuation of intimate partner violence, independent of other masculinity-related variables.
Okay. Can you make
So the
a
type
new
of
point now?
masculinity. No, we're not moving on yet.
You said the
type
same
of
point 6 times in a row.
Because I don't know how else to get them through your thick fucking skull.
By arguing and talking to me and listening to what I'm saying right now.
Part of what forms a good argument are facts to back it up, okay? I'm just here to speak truth.
Are you? Okay. Let me tell you a fact. Everybody in the red pill world that you are calling toxic and that you are against, all those people don't take antidepressants.
Why are you so obsessed with this?
Because you're talking about happiness, but you are on a pill that declares your unhappiness.
I think that this is actually really demonstrating a fatal flaw with your reasoning here. So, for example, do you realize that somebody could give accurate and correct advice on healthy eating if they themselves are fat?
They can't. No,
Did you know that?
Not listen.
If somebody's fat, they can still say the studies demonstrate that this is the best method forward for losing weight.
Would you hire a fat personal trainer?
That's not the question, or that's honestly
It's my
irrelevant
question.
again to what I just said.
It's a
not a
genuine
personal
question.
trainer. It's about whether or not the factual information being delivered is accurate. No, if you were going to get a personal trainer, yeah, you would want somebody who's in shape.
Okay.
However, if there's a fat person delivering information about how to lose weight, whether or not they're fat has no bearing on whether or not the information is correct.
Okay. Chat, type of 1 if you would not take information from a fat personal trainer seriously.
I
want
don't
your
know
chat
why
to do that too.
why are you doing this, my dude? It's like you're not capable of hearing what I'm actually saying right now.
I'm hearing everything. But that's a great point. If you're on antidepressants, then you shouldn't talk about happiness the same way a fat person shouldn't talk about health.
That's not true. Whether or not I'm on antidepressants, whether or not somebody's fat, is irrelevant as to whether or not the information they're
pretty
delivering is
relevant.
accurate.
Okay, but would you personally hire a fat personal trainer?
No, that's not the claim
Okay.
I made, and that's irrelevant to the
I'm
argument.
not talking about your claim.
If you're going to get
I'm asking you a question. It's a different question. It's a different claim. Would you hire?
You're missing the point so bad.
I understand your point, but would you hire a fat personal trainer?
No.
Okay.
Because a personal trainer is somebody who needs to be in shape. However, if there's some fat fuck sitting on the internet giving information as to how to lose weight, whether or not they're fat is irrelevant as to whether or not the
What
information
YouTuber
they're
is?
delivering is correct.
Tell me what YouTuber is that? Tell me a fat YouTuber who's talking about health properly.
This is a hypothetical, Sneako.
It's a hypothetical, but you're acting like it's real. That doesn't exist because
No,
nobody
I'm
would take it
laying
seriously.
out an analogy for you so that you can try
Okay,
and
then give me
understand.
the analogy. The same way that men shouldn't listen to you because you're on antidepressants is the same reason why a fat personal trainer YouTuber doesn't exist and why you are not resonating with men across the world.
Okay,
Nobody's
hold
going
on.
to take what you say seriously if you
Wait,
aren't happy.
stop. I'm not saying a fat personal trainer.
A fat
I'm saying if a
YouTube-
fat person sits down and tells you something about how to lose weight, the information they're giving it's whether or not it's accurate is irrelevant as to whether or not the person giving the information is fat or not.
That's true. That's true. But would you take it
Okay,
seriously?
thank you.
Would
Thank you very
take-
much. That's all I needed.
Would you take it seriously though?
It's as to whether or not the claim is sound. It's not as to whether or not the person delivering it is in the
You're not
best
answering my
health.
point. Would you take that
Similar-
seriously? If you had a fat doctor tell you to start losing weight, and yes, the information could be correct, would you listen seriously?
Probably if it was told from my personal doctor, yeah.
You had
But
a
you
fat
just agreed
doctor.
with me.
If you had
You just no,
I'm not
stop.
agreeing
You're
with
you're
you.
trying to pivot right now, and you're hurting yourself. Okay? You agreed with me that it is actually irrelevant as to whether or not the information is accurate from whom the information is delivered from.
Okay, you're
So
repeating
me
that.
being on antidepressants is completely irrelevant as to whether or not the factual information and the statistics that I'm laying out are true and accurate.
Okay, the same reason that I would not hire a fat personal trainer, because even though that what they're saying could be correct, I just wouldn't take it seriously. I'd be like, this guy doesn't know shit. Same reason that I don't go to therapy. This person does not know more about life than me. They have nothing to tell me. That's the reason that you are not connecting with young men like I am, because they see you. They can see the fact that, I mean, you're not like a masculine presence. So they're not going to take what you're saying seriously about how men should act. You're on antidepressants. Why would they listen to you about happiness?
Because
This,
I'm not
what you're saying
offering my
could be
personal
correct.
I'm not offering my personal anecdotes as to how to get better. I'm delivering statistical
You're reading
reality.
studies. Okay, you're reading
Yes,
studies.
studies. The studies it's irrelevant as to whether or not I am on antidepressants if the study is accurate or not.
Okay. Well, I mean, look at you. You go based
So
off of
thank you.
studies.
You agree with me then?
I go based off of logic, reasoning, life experience, things that make sense. And I'm not on antidepressants.
You're not going on.
You go based on these studies, and you take those pills.
Wait,
So why
I don't think you understand
isn't
that if you're
proof
going to claim
enough?
that you go based on logic, how are you coming to logical conclusions unless you are reviewing the data? Unless you're reviewing some kind of a statistical analysis that can give you a conclusion that is based on, again, statistics, data collection. Your personal experience doesn't speak for everybody.
All those stats are manipulated.
Just all of them, they're just blanket, all of them are manipulated.
Yeah, they deliver what they want you to read. They tell you the things that are going to keep you controlled. That's the reason why certain people get banned. That's why things are labeled as misinformation. The same reason I got banned on YouTube for COVID misinformation, election misinformation. There's certain things that they can dictate reality. They can tell you what's real and what's false. That's the reason I got banned on YouTube, talking about the lies about COVID, the lies about the election. So these statistics and these studies that you're robotically reading
coping.
off. Well, these studies that you're reading are like, robotic, this is the blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, I know that this is all manipulated because they put on the front page what they want you to see. The trending page, all these ideas, all the generic things that everybody's saying is stuff that's been handpicked by somebody else to keep us compliant. That's why I'm on Rumble.
I don't think you, okay? You're coping right now. You can't just say all the studies are fake. That's, again, a lazy way out because the studies that exist contradict the type of masculinity that you push for. The type of masculinity that you advocate for worsens the outcomes for men. The type of masculinity that I talk about, I don't need to be a masculine guy. It's as to whether or not the information I'm delivering is accurate and based in empiricism. Mine is. I can demonstrate that the type of masculinity you push for contributes to the suicidality of men.
I mean, we can
And
all
I don't
find
think
studies that fit our narrative. I can go and search
I don't
it
think
up,
that-
but it's,
I
it's,
think-
it's a
I don't
waste of
think you-
time, and it's not a good way to argue and have a conversation with somebody.
I think that if you
We're going in circles
genuinely
about this. Let's talk about Fresh and Fit. I want you to.
well, hold on. I think that if you genuinely cared about men, you would be willing to assess this information far more critically than you are right now. You just writing it all off as, oh, the studies are all manipulated, bro. What kind of cuck shit is that? There are study after study done by multiple different institutions that have all found the same fucking thing. The masculinity you push for contributes to the suicidality of men.
Right, and you're saying all this, and I'm writing you off like a fat trainer. You're on antidepressants, so I don't take what you're saying seriously.
So you're doing the ad hom again.
No, I'm
You're
not doing
actually
the ad hom.
you're
I'm not
embarrassing
gonna
yourself right now.
I'm not going to take happiness advice from a depressed person. That makes no sense.
I'm not giving happiness advice. I'm talking about
You're
certain
giving mental
expectations
health
that
advice.
contribute to suicidality.
Okay. Well, I'm not suicidal, and I don't think anyone in my chat is. Hopefully, we talk about how that's bad. But I don't think that you should be talking about, like, what if I care about mental health and I'm giving the wrong ideas about suicide when you're a depressed person. Now let's talk about
You're
Fresh
giving
and
the
Fit.
wrong idea about masculinity and which it contributes to the suicidality of men and unhappier marriages and higher likelihood of committing violence.
All right. What's your problem with Fresh and Fit?
So we're just going to move on from there then?
Yeah, we're going in circles, and it's just, yeah.
Okay, I'm happy to move on, but I do think that I should just at least point out the fact that you're engaging in an ad hom fallacy right now. When you say that you take pills, that is irrelevant as to whether or not the information I'm giving you is accurate or not. You need to contend with the data or the information I'm delivering not with me personally.
Happiness is not studies and data. Happiness is something that you can't just write about and read from somebody else on the internet and declare that this is true and false. Happiness is
I'm
something
not talking about
that we
happiness.
all have to figure out. Well, I am. Masculinity and mental health, all of that has to do with happiness. That's life. It's not something that you can point out to a study and say, this is the truth about masculinity. That's a waste of time to go back and forth with these articles. Now let's go.
So you understand that if you're talking about happiness, then why are you advocating for men to suppress their emotion, which makes it more likely they'll have depression and
we're
be
going in
less
circles.
happy?
I explained that it's not suppressing. It's understanding, feeling the emotions, then doing the right thing and doing the best thing with your time. Keep moving forward. Keep making more money. Keep improving yourself. Demand respect. Find some love with a woman, and then
keep moving forward. Go for it. Absolutely. Also, be in touch with your emotions and don't suppress them to the point that you commit suicide.
Crying and going to therapy is not the right way to be in touch with your emotions. That's some Matrix shit. Now let's talk.
Why should I listen to you? I mean, if we're gonna do ad homs, I can just say like, why do I need to listen to you then?
I'm not on
antidepressants.
What?
That's irrelevant.
I'm happier than you.
Okay.
You asked me a question. So. You asked me a question, man. You're on a pill that says that I'm depressed.
You want to measure our happiness rates? Like it.
Well, you asked me a question, man. That's a genuine answer, and I don't see how that's.
You can say you're happier than me, but again, you're right. We are going in circles. But I kind of just feel for a lot of the guys that watch you, because it's like, I understand that they're all going to call me like a soy boy cuck or whatever, and that's fine. But I am actually advocating for certain ideas and views of masculinity that better men. It makes men better.
All right,
let's see to happier, healthier lives.
Let's see if you can garner a big audience of men, because I don't think that will be possible. I think it's going to be
pretty sure I have mostly men who watch me right now, and it's not about who I can.
There's a reason why I'm resonating, and this message resonates with men across the world for all different types, and I think most of your fans are going to look like you, and they're not going to really try to do much with it. You know, a lot of women, I bet your comment section is saying like, this is toxic. They're echoing the same things as you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's just, I feel like if you genuinely cared about men, you would actually do something about this information.
Well, if you're right, then take my fans. Let's see what happens, man.
It's not about who gets more fans or gets more views. It's not about that. If you care about men's
if I'm not doing the right job, then you do it.
It's that if you care about
men's... Let's see if you care about it so much, then do what I did. Take over the world, get 5 billion views on TikTok talking about it. Let's see if your live stream audience can match up to mine, talking about the same issues. There's a reason why men are not going to flock to you like they're flocking to this message, because men follow other masculine advice. I'm following masculine advice, what I believe to be true, keep pushing forward, and people come here. If you are right and I don't care, then they'll go to you. And we'll see what happens. Time will tell. Now can we pivot to
doesn't actually matter. It's just that you're up here virtue signaling about how tough and masculine you are, while leading men down a path that makes it more likely they'll kill themselves.
Okay. You're repeating that. I'm telling you, if you're right, let's see if you could take them.
Okay.
They could, if they're resonating with you, if you're speaking to them at that level, they will go to your stream.
It's not just about if I resonate with other men.
That's exactly what it is.
No, it's not. I think that again, you're falling back again into whether or not the information is correct. It is not relevant as to whether or not I get more fans, whether or not I get more views, whether I have more men watching me. None of that is relevant. What is relevant is the information I'm giving you is backed up empirically throughout fucking history, and the information you're giving to men is a virtue signal soy boy cuck mentality that you just got to suck it up, bruh. Even though that makes it more likely they'll hurt other people and themselves. Okay. But yeah, we can move on. We are starting to circle
so many times, bro.
It's hard to get it through your head. I don't know what else to say.
Because you say the same things that everybody else on Twitter says, man. You don't have original thoughts or points of views. Toxic masculinity. We react to all these videos. Everybody who doesn't like what I talk about says the same talking points. It's in circles. It's not going to change my mind. You're saying what you're supposed to be saying. Antidepressant opinions.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Why don't you like Fresh and Fit?
I already did a 50-minute video on taking down Fresh and Fit that you responded to.
I would like to talk about that a little more. I don't remember exactly what you said, but I think it'd be a good debate. It'd be a good discussion.
Well, I mean, I went over the video. Yeah, we didn't really agree to talk about like debate Fresh and Fit. I guess I could look over what I said in that video again.
What else?
I mean, I remember what you said in that video. Actually, I do remember a specific thing you said. That I didn't like, where you implied that women, if you asked them to rate themselves, they would all rate each other or themselves as like a 10 or 100 beyond perfect. Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
Yeah. And so I didn't really like that because, again, it was completely not true based upon empiricism. I mean, they've done studies, compared self reported self esteem, gender, and age across 48 nations, and they found that women had lower self esteem in every country that was analyzed. So when you say that, like, oh, ask a woman, she'll rate herself 10, she says she's 100, she's perfect, this is not true.
What's not true that they'll say that? Because they all say that repeatedly.
No, it's that women, whether or not they say that, I don't care. It's that generally speaking, women have way lower self-esteem than men. So when you make it sound like all women would just be like, I'm perfect, I'm beyond 10, I'm 100, whatever, that's just not, again, it's not borne out by the data. And I feel like that's part of the reason you avoid data.
So that's data right there. I'm asking women every single night, what would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? They say 10, 1,000, a million. That's their data. That's exactly what data is. That's a study.
Not. That's
a real life study. That's an anecdote.
That's not a study.
That's what a study is. I'm asking people, they're giving me their answers.
That's not what a study is.
Then what's
a study? Controls for other aspects. A study collects the data and compares it to other forms of data.
Okay,
there's more that goes into it than what like just asking questions.
Me asking
this, for example, was analyzing survey data.
That's collecting data from 30
This
women.
was analyzing survey data from over 985,000 men and women.
Okay.
Okay, they're not just walking up being like, how's your self-esteem today, LOL? And out of those near 1 million people, women consistently scored lower when it came to self-esteem as opposed to men.
Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah, that was just another thing I wanted to point out that you got wrong.
Yeah. I got it wrong because you found a study that backs up what you're saying. I'm going off of real life experience because I'm telling you all that stuff could be manipulated. And that's a perfect example of me conducting a real life study. I'm asking women all in a room, what would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? And they all say that repeatedly. Why?
Maybe because, like what I said in my video already, is you surround yourself by shallow people.
There's shallow
very
women?
likely. Yeah, of course. Okay. There's shallow people. Yeah, of course.
Are you better than them?
I didn't say that, and I don't know how I would go about measuring that.
I'm asking you.
How would I go about measuring that?
You said that I'm shallow, Fresh and Fit are shallow, and all those women are shallow. Are you better?
I don't know. I don't usually like to say that I'm better than other people because I don't know.
You're saying that by classifying
because I don't know what metric we would be measuring that by. But I think that I'm better than you, if that helps.
Okay. Why do you think you're better than me?
Because I actually have empiricism behind the claims that I make, and you have, I went outside and talked to a girl, dude. Like, this is fucking laughable. If we used your logic and rejected mine, then we would all be here believing the world was flat. Because I go outside, bro, and I see a flat, open plain. But thanks to data and empiricism and investigation, we know that the Earth is not, in fact, flat. That's the result, though, of your type of reasoning here.
This
and
is
it's funny because earlier you were like, I go off logic. Like, this is the most illogical thing I've heard.
It's a dumb way to argue, to go and do homework before this and list a bunch of articles that back up what you're saying, because I could do the exact same thing. But there's no point. There's no point in engaging in a conversation like that, because the internet is so large. There's a study that's going to back up whatever you believe. What I believe, I could find, if I Googled right now, I could find you the same amount of articles saying the same thing. It's a waste of time to do this.
Yeah, this is your problem.
If you
think
that
it's not a waste of time. This is what
makes you feel
get
better. Like, the fact that you think bringing up articles makes you a better person, it's just, ultimately this is not going to get any place. Because if you garner your self-esteem by doing studies, then I'm not going to convince you, because
That's not how I garner my self-esteem. But I do think that as far as this engagement goes, I'm definitely better, because again, I have data that backs up my claims. I don't just have my friend said this, dude.
That's my data too. Asking women in front of a live audience and
but your data is not applicable on a broad in a broad circumstance. So again, like, if you talk to an individual woman and she is shallow, and you say this woman is shallow because I talked to her, that's fine. You're correct. She is probably shallow. However, the problem is when you extrapolate from that and then say women are shallow. You can't extrapolate from one or a couple bad engagements with women onto all women. And I don't think that you would appreciate this being done reverse either. I mean, imagine if somebody said, like, yeah, men have consistently tried to rape me. All men are rapists. Like, that would be fucking stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Bottom line, if you're right, then people should gravitate towards you.
I don't even know what else to say. Like, that is so divorced from reality. I don't even know where to go from that. I mean, there are people that have no audience at all that also are speaking truth based on empiricism, research, data collection, and it's not contingent as to whether or not they have a large audience.
Okay. These studies that you're pulling up has given you a false sense of moral superiority that deflects from conversation, and it's warped your reality when you could do real life studies. See, I garner what I talk about based off life experience, based on conversations, and by collecting data live in front of people, asking these people. But it's anecdotal as well, and this is what I don't like about bot arguments, is they think that pulling up some studies that back up exactly what they're saying means that it's true, but that's just as anecdotal as talking to people and figuring it out. Because the internet is so large and there's every type of information. It's anecdotal to select those websites and those studies and say this is the truth. That's just as anecdotal as me having a conversation.
No, it's not. I don't think you know what anecdotal means. It means like a personal experience.
Personal experience. It's your personal experience.
It's not anecdotal that 985,000 people were engaged in a survey tracking from the ages of 16 to 45 in 48 different countries. And then they analyzed all of that data and found that women on average have lower levels of self-esteem.
You don't even know how they conducted the study. You don't even know what they asked.
And also, why would this is the cope. You are coping right now. You went from I don't trust the data to, well, anybody can get a study for anything to, well, they probably just did the study wrong. You're in the 3 stages of cope right now.
It's not coping. It's understanding that not that one study proves exactly what you're saying, and I can find a study proving what I'm saying. This is a dumb way to go back and forth, and it's anecdotal because it's your personal experience. I can find something that backs up what I'm saying, and we can go argue back and forth about the study, and I'm saying trusting that one source you found on the internet is a stupid way to go about it because you don't even know how they conducted it, and you're saying this is true because I read it on the internet.
One, that's not what I'm saying at all.
That's exactly what you're saying.
No, if I were like, hey, here's a Reddit thread, that would be more equivalent to what you just said. Second of all, earlier when we were having the conversation about how men should cry, I cited multiple different sources. I didn't just give one study. I believe that I'm right about that because there are multiple different sources that support that conclusion. But you didn't want to hear any of those either.
Okay. Do you think that people want to find the truth, and do you think people resonate with people who are speaking the truth?
Potentially, but there are a lot of people that speak lies, and also a lot of people resonate with them as well.
Like who?
Like who? I don't know. Alex Jones, he's pretty famous. That Alex Jones is the first person that comes to mind.
Yeah, I'm not gonna convince you, and I gave up on trying. But I think it's a good example for my chat to see. Of course, you said Alex Jones, and you're not a fan of Donald Trump. You also don't like what Ye said recently in the media. You are happy that Andrew Tate was banned. You think it's a good thing because he was spreading misogynistic lies to teens. It's like we know what you think, and there's not really getting a convincing way out of this. Basically,
you really don't think there was anything wrong with you didn't see any problems with what Kanye said recently? No. About the Jews controlling the media and all having one agenda, like that they operate as a monolith. You don't feel like that's a little bit yikesy?
Yikesy? What is that? What does yikesy mean?
Like a little bit of an issue? Wrong? Incorrect?
Is that wrong?
It's not wrong that Jews have disproportionate power in some of these industries. It is wrong to assume that Jews are all a monolith, thinking the same way, who are all working as a cabal to try and flood the country with degeneracy, the woke.
He didn't say that at all.
I know you didn't say that.
And Ye didn't say that either. He never said
Kanye
any
didn't
of those
say
words.
that verbatim, but what Kanye did say.
You're putting words into his mouth. This is what I'm saying.
No,
like,
that's not
There's
true.
not really
that's
a point
not,
in convincing those types of people. My point is the types of people that you're calling a liar, like you don't like Trump, you don't like Ye, you don't like Andrew Tate, you don't like Alex Jones. Those people will garner an audience and get people motivated, inspired, because the truth really does resonate with people. And there's a reason why people like you, people like Joe Biden, Hillary, they will not ever garner an audience. They won't motivate and inspire people and have a speech because
So if somebody has a bigger audience, that means they're telling the truth?
no, not a bigger audience, but have a motivated audience and have people garnered, having people really resonate. The people that watch you are people who
You are
coping.
fucking stupid right now.
Yeah, well,
you're actually being
the people
dumb
that
as
watch
shit.
you.
The
they
fact
see,
that you think whether or not whether or not what someone's saying is true or not is based on how many people that resonate with it is just it's deranged. That is appealing to the popular or to the popular,
exactly,
I guess, audience in this case. Yeah,
Populace,
the populace in a way.
That's
yeah,
cool.
you're saying that because
I
this
believe in
person has
power to
more
the
people.
Yeah.
Because this
If
person
you
has
think-
more
if you
people
think that's
listening to them,
stupid,
they
then
must be correct.
It's not more people, it's inspiring and motivating people. The reason that you list those people is because they have an audience that really connects with them on a level. The people that watch you and the people that watch the brainwash, the people that believe in all the same shit that you're saying, if you look at the comments, it's not like, wow, this is amazing, this is motivating me. The comments are, this is disgusting, in a response to what you think is fucking stupid. It's,
Okay, well, first and foremost, what you said
you're
a minute ago
making people
was
feel
fucking
better.
stupid.
You make people
No,
feel
a minute
better.
ago, what
It's
you
like
said was
you
fucking
comb-
stupid. Do you think that if I had a huge audience, if I had 4 million people subscribed to me right now, that now what I'm saying is true?
There would be more truth to it. If you were motivating, inspiring people, that's my metric to if somebody's speaking the truth. If they can
Wait,
connect
so you
with people.
actually think that if somebody has a larger audience, it's more likely they're telling the truth?
No, people have huge audiences like Hasanabi, for example, but I don't think he could really motivate and inspire people. He has like 30 to 40,000 people. He's saying all the same shit that you're saying. And if he tried to have a live event or if he tried to like host a show, it would be extremely low energy. There would be nobody motivated, nobody inspired. Everyone would just be there because what he does and what people like you do is they just talk down to other things that bring people up. You're saying toxic masculinity. You're telling people to go to therapy. You're telling people to take antidepressants. You're saying that Alex Jones and Ye is a piece of shit when they're really trying to wake people up and tell people the truth. Your type of content is just bringing down. It's lower vibration. It's low energy, and it coincides with everything else we heard in this
who has the
conversation.
lower vibration, bro. Okay, let's stop with the hippie talk. Again, you're saying that if somebody has a larger audience, it's more likely that they're correct. That is the appeal to ad populum.
I just told you no.
Embarrassing yourself.
I just told you that Lasanabi has probably like 5-6 times more live viewers right now if he was streaming, but he will not motivate and inspire people the same way that the truth will. People like me talking
if he had
and everybody
more
else that you think is a bad
audience,
person.
Well, like what about Adolf Hitler? Adolf Hitler was able to motivate, quote unquote, and inspire a lot of people. He had a very passionate following. That's how he rose to power. Is what Adolf Hitler was saying correct? You would obviously have to say no.
No, he said a lot of wrong things, but he was speaking to people that were disenfranchised after World War I, and he was motivating and he was connecting with a lot of people in Germany at that time. I mean, history showed what happened, but...
Okay, well, yeah, sure. It's just I don't think that, like, I don't know what else to say because it's like you're unironically just basing whether or not somebody's more likely to speak the truth as to whether or not they have a larger audience and also a motivated audience. I don't know what that necessarily...
You could have a huge
How do you
audience.
measure that?
You could have a really big audience. And I think the reason that these big tech websites ban the people they ban is because they're connecting with people and resonating with them in a way that they are not prepared for. That's why these mainstream news websites, that's why they're all downclimbing. Their views are in the trash. Nobody watches them. People are more inclined to go to a live streamer that's really speaking to them. And so they need to get rid of them. What they purport and what they push on YouTube and all these matrix websites are people that are just like low vibration, low energy, keeping them down here because that type of entertainment, that type of content is just like, this is dumb. This is toxic. This is misogynist.
So what makes like Andrew Tate, for example, somebody with a huge following who also has a very motivated following, what makes him correct based on that metric, but makes Adolf Hitler incorrect based on that metric?
Hitler should not have killed people. He was inspiring a lot of hate.
Was what he was saying at all kind of correct?
About Germany having to band together
About
and
Jews, about
anti-immigration. No, he was wrong about a lot of that, but he was right about trying to bring Germany back to the way it was before World War I. They got screwed, and he was speaking to them in a way that was needed at the time.
Yeah, but but again, now you're acknowledging a incredibly popular time in history in which somebody had a large following, an extremely motivated following, and they were wrong. So clearly your method of determining whether or not somebody is speaking truth or are more likely to speak truth is flawed.
He went too far. But he was speaking a lot of truth.
So he was speaking some truth.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, I just, like, I don't know how you're able to say then that having a larger audience, having a more motivated audience determines whether or not, or excuse me, raises the likelihood that you're speaking truth, if you're also acknowledging examples throughout history where the complete opposite was true. I don't know. I think that might be something that you need to work out. Maybe you should go see a therapist, actually, try to work that one out. But
No.
also, I want to say one other thing about the Kanye shit. I never tried to put words in Kanye's mouth, and I never said that he said that verbatim. However, what he did say is that the Jews control the media and that they blackball anyone who goes against their agenda. He is assuming within that quote, within that statement, that Jews are a monolith who have one agenda, and that is the JQ. That's the fucking problem. That's why I take issue with what Kanye said.
And Alex Jones and Sandy Hook and yeah. I mean, we know the talking points. There's no convincing you.
Okay.
All right.
Is this the end of the call then?
Yeah, I need to talk to my chat because they're getting riled up right now.
All right. Well, nice talking to you. Hitler did nothing wrong, Sneako, or Hitler had good points, Sneako. I think that you really need to just rethink that way of that method of determining whether or not somebody's speaking truth.
Based on if they're motivating people?
No, because you say that, but then you also have to acknowledge that